Well, good evening and welcome everyone to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. August the 4th, there was a massive explosion in the harbor, in the port in Beirut, Lebanon. And I've been very interested in, as I think all of us are, in what happened and why, and the loss of life and how we can help, and how people are just surviving and dealing with this. And so I reached out to a friend of mine, Dr. Manal Naboulsi, who is a life coach, someone who I met with when she was doing her doctorate in business at the International School of Management in Paris, France. An incredibly articulate, smart young lady who we've talked to a couple of times about coaching issues. But now I want to talk to her about what's happening in Beirut and what lessons, frankly, August 4th and the disaster has taught her and may teach us. So Manal, how are you?
Hi, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, thank you. More importantly is, how are you doing? How are you doing, and how is Beirut doing?
I can say that we are surviving. After all the things that we've been going through since long time ago, we are still surviving. I know that we are losing a lot. We lost a lot in that last bomb and the blast and the explosion that happened in Lebanon. 4th of August is a day that we will never forget. Not even it was something really devastating of what happened. We've lost a lot. We didn't only lose people and friends and family. We lost the city itself, Beirut itself, the capital itself. It was really drastic.
So you showed me pictures of your house. The windows were blown out. Your office. Tell me what personally, how personally your property was impacted, and were you hurt at all? Did you hear the blast? What happened on the day of?
In fact, the blast was heard till Cyprus. Can you imagine how much it was really strong? So 20 kilometers from the port of Beirut, were really attacked by the blast, by this explosion. So near the port, near the harbor, lots of museums, hospitals, the old brick and the old facades of all the houses that really were the beautiful houses of Beirut, they were all destroyed. Whereas my office got destroyed as well, because it's in the downtown of Beirut, and the building itself, it got destroyed. Thank God I wasn't there, but people who were there, they got injured. Some people lost sight. Some people were injured with the scattered glass that went up, and it chopped everything out. In the house over here where I live, we only had scattered glasses in the balconies. That's it. But the heat of that explosion and the shock of that explosion, you would feel that as if it's underneath your house. Wherever you are in Lebanon, you could feel how much it was really strong.
How many kilometers are you from the port?
I'm like 7 kilometers. That's it.
Oh, really? And what time of day was it? And what were you doing when the blast occurred?
It was at 6 in the evening, 6:08 exactly. And I was in the house preparing myself to go for an early dinner with my daughter at a friend's house. And my daughter was painting in her room. It's a small room that she has a small studio in the room, and it's all in glass. So she was painting, and I started feeling the earth shaking underneath my legs. So I called her name, and I was like, Jasmine, are you okay? The first thought that comes to your mind is an earthquake. Okay, so I pulled her from the inside that studio, and automatically the first bomb exploded. There were 2 bombs, and the first one was really small, and the second one was really hard, that scattered all the glasses inside the room where she was painting. So I thank God that I was home to save her. Otherwise, I know that she would be all cut into, with all the glasses that went, and the ceiling that went off, and the painting went off. Everything was, it was a disaster in the room, definitely. And it was the only room that got really ruined over here in the house. So it's traumatizing. At first, it's traumatizing. The good thing that I say, I'm really grateful for, that I didn't lose any of my family. No one was injured. We were safe. Whereas there are so many other people and so many friends over there, and so many family that really lost their home, lost their jobs, lost their dream. People were under no roof. They had if you could see the building and the cars that they were ruined because of that explosion, you could say that this is something really, it's unimaginable. You cannot, you can only see such a thing in movies. You cannot imagine that such an explosion can leave around 3,000 or 300,000 people homeless. Can you imagine?
300,000 people homeless.
300,000 people homeless.
Oh my
And
God. And where have they gone? Have they gone into tents? Have they gone into families? Where have they all gone?
On the spot, all the Lebanese people from all around Beirut and all around Lebanon opened their homes to the people who were homeless. They've opened their they closed houses in the mountains. They've opened all the hotels that were not injured, or they were not distracted by the bomb. So we started finding places for all these people, just to go and stay there till we could reconstruct their houses. So you have around 300,000 people homeless. You have around 6,000 people who were injured, from minor injury till very deep injuries from the glass and from the aluminum that hit them. And you have around 200 people that were killed. And till now, we are on the 25th of August, we still have 52 people missing.
We're chatting tonight. We're chatting tonight with Dr. Manal Naboulsi, who is coming to us from downtown Beirut, Lebanon, where she lives and works with her daughter Jasmine, and both of them escaped any significant damage and obviously injury from the blast. But she's going to give us a good sense of what's happening in Beirut, and then also some lessons that she thinks we should all get from this terrible tragedy that occurred on August the 4th. We're going to take a break for some messages and be right back in just a minute. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour. We're talking about Beirut, Lebanon, and the blast that occurred on August the 4th, the evening of August the 4th, with Dr. Manal Naboulsi, who is a life coach, a business executive, someone who I met at the International School of Management in Paris, France, where she was doing her PhD, and now she's getting her life back together in Beirut, and she's just told us some harrowing numbers. So, Manal, just to remind, there were 50 people that died, 45 that you still can't find.
No, we have more than 200 people that died. And up to now, we have more than 50 that are still missing. Okay?
200 people dead, over 50 missing. And was it 3,000?
6,000 people injured.
6,000 people injured.
And 300,000 people that are homeless now. And you have around a damage of around $10 to $15 billion. The property damage that caused Beirut explosion.
And you know, when we've been talking before, what you had told me is that, number one, you know, COVID-19 had impacted your economy, that your money was very, you know, a lot of inflation, that money in the banks was either not worth much and or you couldn't take it out. So your economy was in tatters. You've had civil war on and off for numerous years, and I guess the politics is bad, and the government is been called into question. What is going on? How can Beirut and Lebanon survive?
I don't know. Exactly, as you're saying, the economy of Lebanon was in a state of a crisis before the explosion, and it didn't only start with the revolution of October 17. It started even before that, but with the government having so many debts. And the pound over here was really plunging in a certain way, and we had so much poverty in the last few months. The rate of poverty was really rising by 50%. Can you imagine the wage that we have because we needed that, because we needed to change the political environment, everything. So adding to that, to this, the COVID-19, the pandemic has really overwhelmed all the things in the country. So we were having so much damages politically, not only politically, but also economically. The money, we didn't have the money in the bank, where the dollar itself disappeared from the bank. So now whenever you have a certain amount of dollars in the bank and you want to go and have dollars, they give you, instead of it, Lebanese pounds, because you don't know exactly where the money is. So they stole, I say, the government stole our money. What happened? They did this explosion, and they were really reckless about the lives of the Lebanese. They dragged us into revolting, into trying to change that regime. The only thing that happened is that the day or a few days after the explosion, the prime minister resigned, okay? After saying that he has nothing to do with the 200 or 2,750 tons of the ammonium nitrate that were in the port, in the harbor. He said that he didn't know anything about these. So he was forced to resign, okay? And all the regime that were before came in at the same thing. They said that they have nothing to do with it. So it's always, we as a Lebanese citizen, we're always paying for their faults. We're always having all the problems. We've been surviving for so many years. We've been having so many problems. We've been having so many shocks, and lots of people are losing their hopes in Lebanon. We have so many people that are leaving Lebanon now. Not only the young people, even people at an old age. They don't have any hope anymore in that country. This is really saddening. We have a beautiful country. We have the most beautiful Mediterranean Sea. They don't let us live over here. So all these corruption are making us really lose hope in that government and lose hope in living over here in Lebanon.
Why has this all happened? You've described Beirut to me before, and you just did now, as one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Every single person from Lebanon I've met has been just wonderful.
Yeah.
Is it different factions that are politically infighting? Why has corruption been such an incredible problem that it seems to have destroyed your country?
Because everyone over here in the government, they want to steal. They want to have a share for their own. It's we have so many sects, and we live all together. But each sect follows a certain militia and a certain person. And this is what is causing the problem over here. We're diversified by our sections, by our ethnic, by our religion, and each person wants to attack the other person and wants to be empowered more than the other person. So this is why they're not letting the Lebanese live in peace. Whenever you grow up in a political environment, they tell their children, which really is wrong, who to follow as a leader and what to think and who to hate. If you're a Christian, you have to hate the other sects of Christians, or the Muslim, or the Druze. So they are teaching their children to behave or to do the same thing as what happened in our civil war in the 70s. So as if history is repeating itself, they have this hatred for each other, and they don't want to live in a country that is open. Let's say in the 1990, when a new prime minister was elected, and he was really well known, he tried to diversify and to unite all these people. But he was unfortunately murdered in 2003. And he was murdered because of all the power that he had, because he made Lebanon really beautiful. But so many people don't want that. They don't want to see Lebanon as a beautiful country, especially the countries around us, okay? And especially that we have been in war with Israel, and they wanted to take the south of Lebanon, and we were fighting for that. We've been trying to fight to have a piece of life since the 70s. And every time we try to go in a certain state of serenity, something happens again. So
this is This is really, it seems like it's been going on for a long time. And 1970 was 50 years ago, so it has been a long time.
Exactly.
But Beirut, Lebanon was known for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, as a place that was incredibly diverse, that did get
Hmm.
along. So why was Beirut a place where so many different religions and cultures and sects could get along for a
Hmm.
millennial, and then sometime after World War II, it started to fall apart, and the sects and the religions and the different races started fighting almost seemingly nonstop for the last 50 or 70 years.
Leaders, because of leaders over here in Lebanon. That's it. Yeah, I can tell you that what's happening in the government of Lebanon and in all the areas that happens since the 70s till now, it's about the power. It's about who would empower who. Over here, over here, you have everything that is diversified in a certain way. Each person in a certain religion takes a certain percent in voting. Okay, so uh, they are they got used to stealing, and they got used to empower each other, and they got used to have their power over other people. And you could see that they are fighting over not the country itself, over who wins more people around them, who wins more money, who would steal more, who would take money more from the government, who would take away more people just for them to worship them. This is a certain strategy or a certain standard of thinking that they got used to. They need more money. The fact that we went into inflation and the money, and we don't have any money back in Lebanon, is because all of these people who started from the 70s, being the prime ministers, the ministers, and all of these government, they saw money, and at the end, they put their money in Switzerland or in Paris or in other countries. So this is why you cannot know exactly how much they have stolen money from us, not from taxes. We barely pay taxes like in the USA. They stole money from having a corrupt government, from stealing from their own people, from not being faithful to us, from just stealing the money from the banks and running away. So it's really a big issue over here economically.
What's going to happen? There's been a bunch of protests. The population of Beirut is taken to the streets. You've got a prime minister that has resigned. What do you think is going to happen?
Listen, what's going on now? No one is there with us to restore Lebanon. Since day one, okay, the people of Lebanon, the citizens, were there to help people out, to take people to the hospitals, to help people cleaning their house, removing all the glass, doing the reconstruction. No one from the government came to help, and no one asked what they want. Instead, they came in a certain way and told these people and the landowners of these beautiful houses and old, beautiful old wood houses, they asked if they want to sell them. So they even with all the misery these people are having and the loss that they're having, they came after the blast and after the explosion, asking these people if they're willing to sell their house now, okay, and they could buy it as deteriorated or as it is in a half price. So they're not even caring about anything. What we want as Lebanese, we want a new reformers. We want a new government. We want new blood to just serve the Lebanese. We need that revolution to happen. We need our money back. We need each of these persons who were really in touch of that explosion to know exactly who was behind it. Why did they even knew that in the port there were those ammonium nitrate, and no one did anything. So we want the peace for that Lebanon. We want to know exactly who killed and who really exposed all of this. And no one now is doing anything. No one now is doing anything of this. We're all alone, working all alone. We're trying to have some people as as trusted people who we could help us in that revolution, who could help us to reconstruct Lebanon, to work on all the injuries, the emotional, the mental, the physical, and the moral injuries that we have. The scars are really bad. So what's next? We're still waiting. What's next? We need a new government. This is what we need. We need someone that we could trust. Otherwise, no one is staying in Lebanon.
Even your sister has moved, I understand.
She moved. She just traveled yesterday. She immigrated to Canada.
Oh, really? And where'd she come to?
In Montreal.
And starting a brand new life in a new country.
Exactly. Starting a brand new life with her husband and her kid. And it was really hard for us to see that she's leaving. We're a very connected family all together. And the only people that I have are my three sisters, my daughter, and my mother. We're so connected together. Seeing my younger sister going and starting something new, I know that this would happen. I know that we're going to have a mass departure, a mass exodus now, because everything, there is an indication for all of this that is after the crisis and after this, people are losing their job. We cannot even pay for our rent. The money is locked in the bank. Everything is closed. So whoever is able to have some cash money and to move, or if they have some people around, or in France, or in Canada, or in anywhere else, so they're leaving. In fact, what's happening is that Canada introduced a special immigration measure to help Lebanese citizens now to go back or to go to Canada. And Canadian residing in Lebanon, she had them back to go back to Canada. And she had them even getting back their family from Lebanon to Canada. So everyone is not happy over here, unfortunately. But the thing is, the people who cannot have a startup new life, or they don't have the financial security to move, this is their problem. Because I told you, if you go to the bank and ask for what you have in the bank for your income, or for the money that you have in the bank, they don't give it to you in dollar. They give it to you in the Lebanese pound, and then you go to the black market over here to do the exchange in a very high rate, which is ×7. Can you imagine?
No, it's amazing. We have so many things to complain about in North America, given COVID-19, and that we're all stuck at home, and race relations, and debt and deficit. But what you've described is just harrowing. It's a tragedy. It's incredible, and that your economy's in a free fall, that your political system is a disaster, that your government is in disarray. It's wonderful that the population of Beirut have been so resilient, and so I congratulate you on that. We're talking with Dr. Manal Naboulsi from Beirut, Lebanon, about what happened on August the 4th and the aftermath. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and ask Manal about what this has taught her, and she thinks lessons that we should all draw from it. Stay with us. We're chatting tonight with Dr. Manal Naboulsi, who is a life coach, provides consulting and coaching services for business people and personal. But she tonight is talking about what happened in Beirut, Lebanon on August the 4th. She's in Beirut, Lebanon right now. And we've spent the last couple of minutes talking about the economy, the impact on government, on infrastructure. I think what you said was several $1 billion worth of property damage.
$10 to $15 billion so far.
$10 to $15 billion of property damage. It's just unbelievable to believe that you and Beirut have gone through this experience. But Manal, you posted a whole bunch of really, frankly, inspirational comments on your Facebook and in your Instagram that you thought that August 4th has taught us a lot. What do you think the disaster in Beirut, Lebanon has taught you and should teach us?
First of all, it taught me that live the moment. Live the moment itself. Don't procrastinate things. You don't know exactly what awaits you. August 4 at 6:07, I was at 6:06 p.m. I was planning to get out from the house. And 1 minute after that, everything changed. The whole life changed. My whole perception changed. When I saw the room of my daughter, how it was deteriorated and how the glass was scattered and everything, I said, thank God I was home to rescue my daughter. Otherwise, my daughter would be wounded with all the scattered glass that were all around. So the only thing that I could say, for first time in my life, for the first 2 weeks, I was numb. I had no emotion. I had nothing to say. I've learned that you go through different emotion for you to grasp what's going on, for you to understand exactly the big amount of loss that you have inside of you. Because even if you didn't lose people, I lost a lot of things inside of me. So it taught me that each minute that you live, you have to be grateful for that. You have to live it as if there is no tomorrow. You have to tell the people around you that you love them. You have to be kind to yourself as much as you are kind to other people. You have to cherish every moment in that life and try to make things happen in life. Don't procrastinate things. There's no need to procrastinate things. There's no need even to say to yourself that I will do that tomorrow, after tomorrow. If you have the time to do it today, do it today. If you want to tell someone you love him or you love her, tell that person today, because there may be no tomorrow. So I've learned that the moment, the now is really important. And to live that moment, you have to really validate or accept the feelings that you are living in and be grateful for what's going on. Even with all the losses that we have, I'm grateful that I'm still alive. I'm grateful that my daughter is alive and my family is alive. But at the same time, there's something inside of me that's telling me, take care of that. It's a lesson. You have to know exactly from now on how to deal with all the things that are happening around you. So grasp all the opportunities that you have in your life. Remove all these fears so you could grasp the opportunities, so you could see and focus on the beautiful things around you. So those were the lessons that I've learned now. At first, I told you it was nothing. For me, it was only all the time crying and not knowing exactly how I was feeling, or it was the guilt feeling. And this is what trauma does to every person. Whenever you lose or whenever you start grieving, you pass through so many stages. And one of the stages, which is a denial stage, we call it. And in that denial stage, you don't know exactly if your feelings are right, if you're feeling even. And there are flashbacks that comes to your mind. You cannot sleep, you have insomnia. There are so many things that happen in the first few weeks, not only for me, but I know for every person that was exposed to that explosion. Even my daughter, for a certain period of time, she was traumatized. I had to take some courses online and some practices for me to get out from that, for me to accept the grief itself. So it takes a process for you whenever you come up from a trauma to accept all the traumatic things that happened, especially seeing all the things that were in Beirut at that night. It was really devastating.
Now, you're a very positive person, and you have been a positive person, and you've been a life coach. If you went through all these challenges and it took you a while to sort of come out of grief and come out of denial into this more positive attitude, I can imagine that it's devastating for a lot of people that don't have your training, don't have your background, don't have your positive outlook on life.
Can you imagine on August 4 at 6:07, a woman in a hospital in Beirut was going into the delivery room to deliver her baby. And while she was delivering, the room itself of the delivery room exploded while she was delivering the baby. The baby is safe, she is safe, but there is a video, I can send it to you, while the husband was filming and the explosion came out and the room got destroyed all over, upside down, while she was delivering the baby. So all these people, they lived a trauma. I lived a mild trauma which is in a mental, emotional. Other people live a physical and a deep wounded one. So there are so many things in the mind or pictures in the mind sometimes that you cannot forget. There are things, and the sound itself, you cannot forget it even sometimes. Now, whenever someone shuts the door in a violent way, and I get so much scared. It reminds me back to that sound of explosion. So lots of people over here got really traumatized. We're trying to help. I'm giving so many pro bono, I'm giving so many meditation online, and I'm trying to help people just to get out from this anxiety, denial, depression, just by being next to them. Unfortunately, we have a lockdown now because the number of corona and the number of the COVID-19 got really high because of that explosion. We were like in our 10 people per day. Now the number is 400 to 500 people tested positive per day after the explosion.
Oh, really? My gosh. So after you got hit by the governmental problems, the political problems, and now COVID-19
and now
coming
again,
back.
Now again, we're in lockdown. We have a curfew. We have to be home at 6. We're not, coffees are closed. Everything is closed. We're only allowed to go get our stuff from the supermarket or the pharmacy. We're back to our curfew. The only place that we can go, if you want to help people in the affected area, you go during a certain time between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Otherwise, you have a fine if you're late to the house. But all of this, and all the tragedy that you're living in, so many people are not getting out of it. So many people are out of their house. So many people, they lost their job. The restaurants are closed. So you have so many touristic places that shut down. You have so many pubs, restaurants. The area that near the harbor, near the port, is a very crowded area where you have most of the nightlife over there. Most of the pubs and the nice restaurants over there, they all collapsed. There's no more one restaurant that is not destroyed. So now all of these people, they didn't only lose their job, they lost their dream, they lost their house, they lost their money, everything. So we need to start from scratch. But from where? The only thing that we could start with is working with our emotional thing, and trying to heal our mental and emotional wounds that we have. It's not
Which is
only
going to be so unbelievably difficult for so many people. How do you possibly get that message to people?
So what we're doing is we have so many people and so many NGOs that are giving online courses and online practices, and EMDR, which is the eye movement technique for people that can remove trauma. These are psychotherapists and psychologists that can do all of this for the people who have severe post-traumatic stress disorder, which is...
Sorry, I'm not familiar with what EMDR is. What is EMDR?
It's the eye movement desensitizing. It's a way of a technique that can remove trauma. It's one of the most important technique that can remove trauma. It's a certain technique that you could research about it, and only psychologists can do it for you, where you have to follow the hand of the psychologist by trying to work on the brain itself and removing all the images that are in the brain that are causing all this trauma. It's a really nice technique. I've done it last week with one of my colleagues, which she was a psychologist. I told her I need to remove that trauma. I have a certain mild trauma, whereas other people have severe traumas, and it worked. So it's like a 2-hour session, and you could rate exactly the feeling and the emotion that you have, and they follow a certain technique in it, and they do it worldwide. It's known for any person who has a trauma to heal that trauma that they have from divorce, from explosion, from terrorist things, attacks or anything. They use the EMDR. Along with it, we do so many meditation and healing techniques and breath work to help the patients just to calm down.
We're chatting tonight with Dr. Manal Naboulsi, a life coach who provides business consulting and business coach advisory work and personal advisory work from her office and home in Beirut, Lebanon. But we're talking about what happened on August the 4th and the aftermath, and both the negative aftermath, but also for Manal, the positive aftermath and her realization about what was important in life. We're going to take a break, come back, and we're going to talk about how this extrapolates to the rest of us around the world. Stay with us. Well, Dr. Manal Naboulsi is walking us through what happened on August the 4th in Beirut, Lebanon. She lives there, she works there, and she's told us about the death. She's told us about the homeless. She's told us about the economic devastation, but she's also given us hope. She's told us about how she and others have come through this and have thought about what's important in life. And Manal, you know, I just was really impressed with your posts, and you talk about if August 4th had to be a lesson, what would it be? And one of them was, you never know how important someone is to you unless you almost lose them. That was, you know, a very profound comment. And then, if August the 4th had to be a lesson, what would it be? Never leave things for tomorrow, as tomorrow may not be there. If August the 4th had to be a lesson, what would it be? Life is too short. If August the 4th had to be a lesson, what would it be? You could lose your loved ones anytime, and there might not be a tomorrow. If August the 4th was a lesson, what would it be? Never walk out upset from anyone. It could be the last time. If August 4th had to be a lesson, what would it be? 6 seconds can destroy everything. You know, those are some very profound conclusions and lessons that you've drawn. But you were the one in Beirut, Lebanon. The rest of us, you know, we've got our challenges in Mississauga, Canada, elsewhere. How can we learn these lessons if we don't go through that trauma and the harrowing experience?
You don't need to go through trauma to appreciate life. Whenever you see things that are really happening in your life around you, people losing other people, people really being deprived from living a life that they deserve, I can see that you can learn. We can learn from other people's mistakes. We can learn from other people's agony. If I come and share with you my story, you would feel compassionate. You would feel empathy for me. You would feel that you as if you're feeling the same thing or you're passing through the same emotion. So we have to reflect back into our life and to see exactly what life has given you. Even if life has given you so many things, it could, in 1 minute, it could end everything. There are two things that happens into our life. First of all, the bad thing that will happen is that we will die one day, isn't it? We're all gonna die.
Yes.
No one will still live forever. But the good news, even if we're gonna die, there's a hope for us to live every day for that moment. So the good news, you're not dying now, you're still alive. So take that opportunity, learn from the things that are around you. If you see that there is something that you have been procrastinating, or something that you have been fearing, or something that you have been putting off, or something that you have been believing that you don't deserve it, think about all of these things and try to reflect on all of this and try to grasp that opportunity to work something new in your life. Why do you need to wait for something bad to happen for you to change? We could change whenever we're good enough. We could even become better when we think that we are even having all the things that we want. We want to prosper, we want to continue, we want to evolve. So every opportunity for us give us a way for us to evolve and for us to grow. Even in crisis and even in problems, there's a way for us to grow. So why not to think that even if I'm good enough in everything and I'm doing great, I'm satisfied, there is a way for me to achieve more. So take that opportunity, live and be happy with what you're doing. And first of all, live the moment. This is what I say all the time to myself, to my clients, and to everyone. You have to be grateful for the happiness that you are having now. We always connect the happiness to something in the future. We always connect the happiness to a beautiful house or a beautiful marriage, or a beautiful spouse in front of us, or money, or a nice car. This is an added happiness, whereas the real happiness is in what you're having now, and what you are feeling inside of you, in the way that you wake up in the morning and you feel grateful for what you have. So if you haven't experienced any trauma in your life, that is really good. That is the best thing, and I'm happy for that. But we are not in control of everything that is happening around us. We are in control of our emotion, behavior, and thoughts. So this is why, if anything happens to you, either good or bad, take the lesson out of it and learn that your strength is because you have so many things that you have passed through in your life, and this is what made you a strong person, full of devotion and full of happiness.
Dr. Manal Naboulsi, thank you so much for your words of wisdom.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us what's happening in Beirut, Lebanon. If people want to contact you for coaching, how do they do that?
They could contact me through Instagram. My Instagram page is Coach Manal Naboulsi. It's Coach CoachManal and as well on Facebook. They could connect with me, and on LinkedIn as well. So they could connect through all of these.
Manal, you've been wonderful. Your strength, your resilience, your passion for life, your passion for other people, and helping other people get through this grief is frankly inspiring. So thank you very much, and good luck. And if we can help, just let us know.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. That's Manal Naboulsi, Dr. Manal Naboulsi from Beirut, Lebanon, reporting on what's happening. My God, it's incredible what negative happened, but how positive her attitude is. I hope to God I can have such a good positive attitude. Good night, everybody.